G'day, I'm Josh Wulf, the creator of Magikcraft. I want to tell you a little bit about how the program works, and to do that, let me tell you a little bit about myself and how this whole thing started. So, I was born in Auckland, New Zealand, and I'm now 42 years old. Who would have thought, hey? I've got a now 14-year-old son, Prahlad, and look, when I was growing up, I grew up with black and white TV. I remember looking at this radio that we brought back from Australia and wondering how I would get that FM stereo light to come on. And of course I had to wait until we had FM radio in New Zealand to get that thing to come on. When I was 10 years old, I saw my very first computer, and it was the very first Apple Macintosh that came out, and it blew my mind. You know, my childhood was about riding around on bikes, playing with sticks, all that kind of stuff. And then when I saw this computer, it was amazing. I got into programming when I was 11, so 1985, and I've been programming ever since, so over 30 years. And for a lot of that time, you know, over 20 years, I've been a professional software developer. Now, one of the things about learning how to program back then was there was no classes, there was no internet, there was nothing like that. And the other thing about computers was that in order to get them to do anything, you pretty much had to program them. So, you know, my son Prahlad, he's 13, this is sort of the beginning of this year, and I'm looking at my son and I'm thinking, how's he going to learn how to program? Because he's grown up in a world where computers already exist, they're very complex now, they're very powerful, they do a lot of amazing things. It's not like when I was a kid and you had this computer that you got out of a box for Christmas, Commodore 64 or an Atari 800 XL in my case. You turn the thing on and then you've got to make it do something. Now you turn the thing on, it's filled with games. There's World of Warcraft, there's Minecraft, there's all these kind of tapping games that the kids get into. And, you know, all of their attention and their energy can be taken up just by the game. So I wanted to come up with a way for my son to learn to program. That's how Magikcraft was born. I took him to Coda Dojo, and there's a whole story about how we discovered it, but the key thing that I want to share with you right now about how, this is, by the way, this is not an ad for Elders commercial, it just happens to be on my way to work. The key thing to know about Magikcraft and how it works is that it's not about teaching. When I started programming, there was no internet, there were not even really any books about it. You just had to kind of figure it out yourself. And you know, it's that being able to figure it out yourself that I think is the key element in coding and in being a software developer. I now work as a recruiter in the software development space. One of the things I notice about graduates when they go into a job is this is something that developers told me over the last year. Pretty much everyone I spoke to said, when I started working as a programmer, it was nothing like what they taught me in university. It was completely different. And I spent some time, you know, really looking into that to see what are the differences between the way that computer programming is being taught, when it is being taught, my son wasn't being taught it in school, and how it's actually practiced in real life. You know, one of the things about children today is that there are children who have been born now who will never drive a car. There's cars driving around. They'll never have a driver's license. You know, the world is changing, and Moore's law means that change is accelerating. I was at the Red Hat Future of Work conference yesterday, day before, and Dr. Alexandra Bratinov from the CSIRO was there talking about future megatrends. And she showed a few graphs, and Moore's law is one of them, which is about the increase in computational power every year. Every 18 months it doubles. So she showed us this graph and she said, this is the graph at the moment, and for me to extend this out to 2030 would require a graph that's 75 feet tall, because that's how fast it accelerates. When you double something, you know, it's just exponential growth, massive. So the changes that are going to come in the next few years are going to leave us, you know, mind blown. Again, here I am walking down the road recording this on my phone while I'm talking on something that has, you know, 16 million times more memory in it than the computer they used to send the guys to the moon. So what we do in Magikcraft is we don't teach kids to program. What we do is we give them the opportunity to discover it, to be able to figure it out for themselves. It's a very interesting dynamic. Because, you know, when you go into a computer programming job, the technology changes so fast that the knowledge that you got, that you were taught in school, is pretty much obsolete before you even get there. And you turn up on the first day of the job, and, you know, you've done your degree or whatever you've done, and you get there, and you suddenly realize that you know absolutely nothing, and the knowledge that you gain in university is useless. The only thing that is really going to carry you through is having a sense internally that you can figure it out, that you're a human being. You're one of those people who sent the guy to the moon, one of those people who invented the iPhone, and that the technology that you're working with is not some alien technology from Area 51 that requires, 2 heads and 12 fingers to be able to operate. It's technology that was created by other humans to solve the same kind of problems that you face as a human living in the world today. And you know what? You can figure it out. So what we do is we create situations, scenarios, environments for the kids to be able to struggle, to grapple with problems in Minecraft, which is a virtual reality simulation. So, you might look at it as they get to grapple with problems in the world, in this virtually simulated world, and then they get to figure out how to solve them by using code or magic, special words that allow impossible things to happen. That's what magic is, that's what computer programming is. So they solve these problems using code, and we don't hold their hand, we don't step them through it, but we do provide them in the environment with all the kind of resources that they need to be able to figure it out for themselves. And really what we want them to walk away with is, an experience of the power of coding and the joy that comes from creating stuff using code, and a real sense that, hey, I got this. I know I can figure this out. So that as they go on in life and they get put in front of all these different kind of situations in a world that's changing and changing technology, they have a very strong confidence internally that they know that they have what it takes to be able to make it and to be able to figure it out, and that it doesn't matter what the changes happen or the unknown situations that they face. As they go into the workforce, as they go into these jobs that don't even exist today, they know that they can do it. That's the main thing that I want them to get out of it, because for me, growing up and learning to code at a time when there was no internet, there were no books, when we had to figure it out ourselves, there was no one who could teach us. That's what I got out of that experience, was just knowing that, hey man, I can do this. I got this. That's what I want kids to get out of Magikcraft. A very strong internal resilience and adaptability, and a real sense that they do have what it takes. So when you see one of our Magikcraft sessions taking place, don't be surprised at all if it looks like chaos. If it looks like there's no kind of structured lesson happening, there's no one telling the kids what to do, they don't know what to do, they're confused, they're lost. Hey, they got this. There's everything that they need in that environment. We've specially, deliberately crafted these environments to simulate that experience of uncertainty, and then everything is there that they need to be able to find it, to be able to win and develop that internal certainty. So that's a bit about how Magikcraft works. Thanks for coming along on the journey and helping us to develop this product even further to make the difference that we're committed to making for the children of today and the people of tomorrow.